every hour.
It never gets old.
All right, everyone. 2 truths, 1 lie.
I was going to be on The Real World. I play the oboe. And I saved a kid's life.
You definitely never saved a kid's life.
I'm serious. Last summer, I donated bone marrow to a kid who had leukemia.
Saving a life. The truth is, it's easier than you think. Learn how at dkms.org.
Who knew we were living with a hero?
A hero who plays the oboe.
Psst. Hey, you, over here. You want to win a DFS? And you want it for just $1? I got Daily Roto here. Now, why do you want it? 2 of the guys behind it have won $1 million. It's not just about the writers. Not 1, not 2, but 3 subscribers have won $1 million too. That's 5 millionaires. 5, count them. And it's not counting the $100,000 winners too. They talk about it in the Slack channel. But why is it $1 right now? Special price for the month of May. Yeah, if you don't like it, then walk away. If you love it and you're winning, keep going. Do I use it? How do you think I afford my massive tracksuit collection? Come on, look at the glitter on this. It's beautiful. You can sort your stats, add your own weights, read articles, distinguish between slates on FanDuel and DraftKings. You gotta go to dailyroto.com and enter code $1. I may just be a creepy guy in a random alley inside your head, but I know what I'm talking about. That's dailyroto.com, code $1. That's it, $1. $1 month, and start winning. Fantasy.
I like shirtless Greg, not gonna lie.
I appreciate that.
You have to host a show like that one day. And just talk in wrestling terms.
So I'm not gonna just host a show topless. That's ridiculous.
What if we were all topless, like it made you feel better?
I'm not like embarrassed in my body.
All right.
Well, I'm not gonna be ashamed of that.
Oh, I didn't know why you didn't want to do it.
I just think it's unprofessional.
I was speculating. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but like, whatever. I mean, it might attract more viewers, who knows?
Probably not.
Based on our demographic, probably not.
You never know.
Weekdays, 2 p.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
You're listening to the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Fantasy, best friends forever.
Do 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 do. Yo, this is the Fantasy Best Friends Forever here on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network. Alongside Frankie Stampfl, Michael Florio, I am Gregg Sussman. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Not much, Greggy. Got some great weather out here in New York City.
It's very hot.
Very hot.
Very hot.
I'm excited for it. I'm ready. I got a little floral shirt on.
It's a bad job. BJG today.
Yeah, you're wearing jeans, man.
BJG with jeans.
Yeah.
I don't know why I put jeans on.
Yeah, that's a dumb decision.
BJJ?
It was cold in the morning.
Yeah, because I looked at the weather and
when I left, it was 60 degrees. It was kind of cold.
That was it. So I saw 60 degrees, and for some reason I didn't scroll to the right where it then says 85.
Yeah,
it's BJJ, man.
It's a BJG, guys.
Sure.
I've completely converted. I haven't worn jeans in weeks. It's like full short.
Okay, it's a little bit different.
Cargo shorts?
Hold on.
They are.
No, cargo shorts apparently are only like an East Coast, New York City thing.
Yeah, it's not a thing anymore anywhere.
Anywhere.
No.
It's a Michael Florio thing. So it is a thing somewhere.
I don't think Gregg Sussman is the one to make that.
I am for sure. Oh, wait, who did we have this conversation with?
Fashionista
Who
Gregg
did we have this
Sussman.
conversody with?
With me.
And there's a third person. It wasn't just me saying
Somebody
it.
else
It was Chrissy. Bones, you're on the mic right now.
He's not here.
He's not. He left.
JP is holding us down right
Is
now.
Chrissy downstairs or he left?
JP is the boss, so you better listen to him.
Yeah, you better. Don't disrespect JP
Don't
like that.
disrespect JP. Who do you think you are? He's your producer.
Anyway.
Today's a rough day, though.
To be fair, Florio, you come much later in the day than we do.
Yes, I
Then
do.
we come early in the morning before the sun's out. You come in the peak day.
But even on weekends, the other day it was 55 degrees. I didn't even think about wearing jeans.
I wear jeans.
Yeah,
I wear
I'm
jeans.
past that.
I might wear sweatpants, to be honest with you.
I can't picture Greg in sweats.
I'm wearing jorts. One might call me a legend. There you go. Not the legend I was referring to, but close enough.
All right. Now on the program today, we have a lot to discuss. But I want to start with the breaking news, of course, of Robinson Cano. Cano out with a broken hand, suspended for 80 games for violating the performance-enhancing drug policy in Major League Baseball. Now, there's a whole appeals process here, so it wasn't exactly, it didn't just happen, right? This has been going on for a while. He probably failed a test probably around spring training. Are you surprised by this, Mike Florio?
Yes, like I'm completely blindsided. How would anyone not be surprised by this? Like Robinson Cano has never failed a steroid test that we know of before.
Well, obviously he would have gotten suspended.
And it's not like he was tearing the cover off the ball and had like some crazy inflated power numbers. And I just traded for him last week. Sunday morning was the first day he was officially on my team in the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational. So obviously, if I saw an 80-game suspension coming, I wouldn't have traded for him. The first day on my team, he breaks his hand. The third day on my team, he gets suspended for 80 games. I gave up Yu Darvish for him. It's terrible, yeah. So, look, the one caveat I guess I'll say is not that, like, to disrespect the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational by any stretch. I want to win. It's an industry league. But there's no money on the line. So out of all my leagues, I'd rather win the one with money on the line.
That does make it a little bit easier to swallow. I'll agree. Yeah, no one saw this coming, Greg. It's especially crazy because Robinson Cano, right, coming into the season, the one thing we said about him is that he's an Iron Man for fantasy baseball. 11 straight seasons of at least 150 games played. The power has been up and down. It's been mostly down since he's been in Seattle. 2 years ago, very fluky, 2016, where he hit 39 home runs again. Every other season, he's been 23 or less home runs. So I guess he was trying to get that power back up to where it should be, but ultimately he got caught in the process.
Yeah, he did. He did. The process ended quite quickly, unfortunately, for Robinson Cano. And listen, this guy now coming off a hand injury, a major injury, where he broke the fifth metacarpal in that hand. Now has an 80-game steroid suspension.
How does this work now?
I think he can serve it while he's on the DL.
I
don't think that's true because remember with Yuli Gurriel?
That's a different kind of suspension, though. That was not a steroid
You're
suspension.
Right. It is a different suspension, but I thought because they tried to like manipulate the DL.
They did. They successfully manipulated the DL.
So that's why I thought like these games on the DL might not matter.
Here's why I think it's different. Because when Gurriel was suspended, the Mariners the Astros had to play a man down. They had to play with 24 men on the roster instead of 25. Same goes when like Tyler Austin was suspended for the Yankees and Joe Kelly for the Red Sox.
That's true.
You got to play with 24. For these steroid suspensions, they don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm. They won't count against the 25.
They do not count against the 25-man roster. That's the only reason I think you can.
Even say you can't. Is it possible for them to activate him in 10 days, or now it would be like 8 days, whatever it is,
right.
and just
put him on the ineligible list?
Boom! Now his suspension starts, and then basically 80 games from that point.
Yes.
When his hand is fine, he can come back.
What are you going to get him? A month and a half, maybe?
It's a
2
lot
months?
like Starling Marte. Like, you had to hold on to him last year. Like, I feel like you have to kind of hold on to Robinson Cano, but it's going to be rough. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, in this league I have him in, I'm not dropping Robinson Cano.
Should we...
Well, hold on. I want to go back to that point. Yeah. I am not... You're very adamant there.
It's a 15-team league, for what it's worth.
Okay, that's a good point.
I wouldn't drop him there either.
You go, I am not dropping Robinson Cano. He is suspended for the next 80 baseball games.
Yes.
It is May 15th, right? Yep, May 15th. 80 games will take you where? If you play how many games in a month? There's 30 days about in a month. You probably play 25 days? 25 games?
The middle of August, I'm thinking.
I think it's farther, dude.
It might be like the end of August.
Because you're playing about 25 games a month. We're halfway through this month. So let's say they have 12 games left, the Mariners, right? So if you're playing 25 in June, 25 in July, 25 in August, you're looking at early September is when you're getting Cano back. Your fantasy playoffs.
Well, this is a roto league.
If you play fantasy playoffs. And in roto league, I'm dropping Cano.
All right.
If you need the roster spot, and what you probably do at some point in the next 4 months, I'm doing it. Let me see this. I want to see.
I pulled up D. Gordon from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to ask that.
His last game played before the suspension was April 27th, and he returned. I'm sorry, April 28th, and he returned July 28th. So he missed
3 months.
Yeah.
So he missed.
I was thinking mid to late August.
So he missed 3 months. So you're saying that Cano could return August 15th?
About that.
Because I'm going to look up Starling.
If you get 50 games, it's probably more like 45 games in that range if he comes back mid-August?
How is that 80 games, though? My math just off? I don't know.
Look, in 15-teamers, I'm probably not dropping him either. I think I'm there with Mike. Depends on the size of your bench, obviously.
I'm dropping him.
I think anything shallower than 15 teams, you probably have no choice.
I'm dropping him in 15-team leagues, too, personally.
Can we make the argument that we should have suspension spots moving forward?
No. Well, we do have it. So
At the rate that players get suspended.
So I'll say this: in some leagues, NA spots do work for that because you're not available.
I bet you it's a Yahoo thing too.
No, in Yahoo,
I don't like Yahoo.
in Yahoo, you're not allowed to do it. The NA spot does not count for suspended player.
Can we disagree that like Yahoo is
I love Yahoo.
on the bottom of the totem pole?
You know what? You know what?
Oh
I'm-
yeah.
You know what I think you.
We don't need Franmil Reyes. It's cool.
And this sounds kind of dirty, but I do think you can exploit the system right now because you can put Robinson Cano in a DL spot. And I know, like,
that is true.
In a lot of leagues, as long as you're not, like, I know on CBS oftentimes, as long as the person is not activated, like, you can still leave them in that DL spot. So that might be a way to manipulate the system. Like, I'm throwing him in the DL spot in the league I have him in right now. And if at some point they tell me, oh, you got to take him out of there because he's not on the DL, he's serving a suspension or whatever, sure. But if technically you can leave him in there and the site doesn't make you take him out, that's one way to just keep him on your roster.
That's a great point. That's a great loophole, I think, in the rule. So, Frank, looking at this, you gave us D. Gordon 2 years ago. You say he got suspended April 15th, was back July 15th.
April 28th was back July 28th.
Okay, so it was a month. So I have here Starling Marte last year. Marte was suspended. His last game was on April 17th, came back July 18th. So it certainly seems like exactly 3 months is where you're going to be. Exactly 3 months.
Middle of August.
Now, hold on. Maybe I've been an idiot. Are you suspended 80 games or 80 days?
Pretty sure it's 80 games. That's what it says. It says 80 game suspension.
Okay.
Yeah, like D. Gordon that year played in 79 games.
Okay, so, all right. I just wanted to make sure I had that right. So you missed 3 months. He's going to be back, give or take, August 15th then. I guess my math was initially off, which is fine. He's going to be back on August 15th. You discussed the 15-team league, Frank. In a 12-team league, knowing what you know now, August 15th, if you can't stash him on the DL, which they think is a fantastic idea, Florio, what do you do with Cano?
Yeah, I just said in anything shallower than 15 teams. I mean,
well, I know you said that before we had finalized the day. It's all.
No, if you can get away with the DL spot, yeah, obviously. But in 14-team leagues, 12-team, especially 10-team leagues, like there's going to be free agents out there that you're going to need to pick up to help you now. Not only that, I mean, guys who get hot, minor leaguers who get called up. We constantly talk about all these guys. I mean, people come out of nowhere. Freddie Peralta. I mean, he wasn't even on some league systems as a player to be added. So many of these guys are going to come up that you want to add that I think, anything shallower than 15-team leagues, if you need to make the move, of course I would try to hold them, but at some point, if you have too many injuries and there's guys you want to add, I think shallower than 15-team leagues, if you need to drop them, you can.
I'm going to try my hardest to hold on to him.
I agree with that.
I get it.
Some guys who might be available right now, these are over the last 14 days, these are some middle infielders that are available in my league. Brandon Crawford, Jose Iglesias, who I know is swinging a hot bat right now. Deeper leagues, maybe a Wilmer Defoe. I know Nico Goodrum hit 2 home runs yesterday as well. They're trying to find ways to get him in the lineup. So those are some guys who might be available. Ketel Marte is getting dropped in deeper leagues as well. So those are just some names if you need to try and fill the void.
So listen, yesterday we had this conversation. We didn't kill Florio for his trade. Obviously, he was unlucky, but I killed you yesterday.
Thank you.
For your suggestion of moving D. Gordon back to second base. They would never do that, blah, 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 blah.
Thank you.
I got to bring it up again now. And I have to take the L, whatever, because I think the question is now even more. Listen, circumstances have changed. I'll 1,000% step up to the plate when I got it.
I don't think they've changed that much.
I think they have. I don't think you're out 80 games with a hand injury.
You're out. We were saying 4 to. So instead of 2 months, he's out 3 months now.
That's a big difference. That's a whole month.
But Greg, are any of their outfield options really better than Gordon Beckham? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you have Guillermo Heredia. Like, if there's a prospect there that we're waiting for that needs to get called up, and he can only play center field or whatever it might be, maybe you slide Mitch Haniger over to center or something like that. But I don't see anybody on the roster here who warrants having to move D. Gordon to second base. If we had that, then maybe.
And I'll say this. It doesn't actually matter from our perspective in fantasy. Because D. Gordon already has second base eligibility everywhere.
Yeah,
so immediately, for fantasy baseball, it makes no difference.
It matters for next season.
Correct.
But, yeah, like I said, I think if they already knew Robinson Cano was going to miss 2 months, and they were like, we still want, at least for the time being, we want to keep D. Gordon in center field, I'm going to imagine that this doesn't change that. But Gordon Beckham did play last night. He hit 9th. I said it yesterday. I think if Beckham struggles, Taylor Motter could get some time there. They also maybe could be. This, I think, though, does give them the option of exploring trades for both an outfielder and a second baseman.
Is there anyone like rumbling around on free agency who just didn't get added this year that we're forgetting? Like a second baseman or outfielder?
Like Neil Walker type player?
Yeah, like someone like that who just didn't get picked
I
up.
don't think so.
No one comes to my mind right off the bat.
No, I don't think so. I don't think there's any of those guys this year. I think they all kind of signed within a week or two to go, basically. I don't think anybody signed. Or anybody is left unsigned. So there you go. Brutal. Absolutely brutal turn of events for Seattle. I am for Robinson Cano. And I will say this. I said it.
And for my great fantasy baseball
and for your
invitational team.
great fantasy baseball invitational
I
team.
agree. Rest in peace.
Listen,
Like second base position.
I will also say this. If the Mariners, who, listen, have the longest playoff drought in professional sports right now, now the Bills is over. The Mariners have not made the playoffs since 2001. That is 16 years. And as I look at the standings right now, the Seattle Mariners are currently in third place in the AL West, game and a half back. So they're right in the mix.
Don't discount them making a trade, though, because if there's one thing we know they
Jerry
do.
Dipoto loves to make trades, for sure. My only point was, the reason I'm bringing this up, they're game and a half back in third place in the AL West. If they make the postseason, even the wild card game, Robinson Cano is ineligible to play. Because
that is a very good point.
Ineligible to play. That's the old Johnny Peralta rule. Peralta got suspended for steroids, later went on to play in the World Series.
I remember in 2016, the Mets were upset Henry Mejia, and then he got that lifetime ban.
Yeah.
Which is actually only 2 years. He's actually applying for reinstatement this summer.
Cool. It's not, the suspension isn't for only for 2 years. It's a indefinite suspension, but you have the ability to apply for reinstatement after 2 years.
Yes.
So there you go. That's the deal with Robbie Cano. The good news, I guess, is, as Mike has pointed out, he was already on the disabled list. You already knew you were without him. Now you're just without him another month.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I'm going to try and exploit this DL loophole as long as Fantrax lets me.
As you should.
I would do it as long as CBS or Yahoo or any of these sites let me keep him on there. Especially if you can serve the games while on the DL, because then he's technically still on the DL. I don't know how that all works, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why don't you can call text your boy Andy Singleton. See what he knows. See what he has to say. Or you don't want to alert him to any information.
I don't want to alert anyone.
For real baseball, obviously if he got transferred to like the 60-day DL, then we would know that he could still serve his suspension while on the DL.
I'll say this. My buddy Jeff, big fan of the show. He listens. He says that, exactly what I said. You're not eligible for the postseason, so he brings that up. I go, thank you for listening, Jeff. I just said that. But he did say this to us, Frank. One player that was not signed this offseason that wants to still play, Brandon Phillips.
Yes, that is a good one.
That makes sense.
Brandon Phillips was not signed this year.
Yeah, that's probably like the last looming veteran type
That's
player.
the perfect type of band-aid,
It is.
too.
I don't know that he still wants to play. Obviously, we haven't heard zero rumblings about Brandon Phillips.
I believe when the season started, he still said he was like working out and waiting for a team to call him.
So there's a potential example.
That's a
that's
perfect
a guy
band-aid.
that's better than Gordon Beckham. I'll tell you that much.
And he's the perfect type of veteran player that you could use for 3 months, and then when Cano comes back, slide him into a bench role.
That's a GJJ right there.
That's a
good
Jeff.
job,
That
Jeff.
is a great job, Jeff.
Great job, Jeff. All right.
Do you think Robinson Cano would have made the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
Probably not anymore.
Probably not anymore.
I don't know about that.
How many hits does he have?
2,400.
No, I'm saying I don't know he doesn't make it because of this.
Oh, I don't think he makes it. I mean, not in today's climate.
He might have been like a
David
borderline
Ortiz is
guy
going to
anyway.
break this steroid streak, guys. Not getting in.
Who?
I truly believe
Who
that.
is it?
David Ortiz.
All right, we'll see. All right, we take a break here. We come back, talk about some of the other injury news from last night. AJ Pollock especially. Stick around.
The Fan Control Football League is making fantasy football a reality. Like a real-life version of Madden, fans will vote on all personnel decisions and play calls in real time. And what the fan says goes. Visit fcfl.io to learn more. The FCFL, where you're in control.
With ThermoSpa's unique built-in thermofiltration system, you simply fill it with a garden hose and your water stays crystal clear with very little maintenance. Right now, they're offering 0% APR financing with approved credit and a $1,250 savings coupon. Call ThermoSpas today at 800-603-6422 for your free DVD videos and brochure. That's 800-603-6422. Call 800-603-6422 today to take advantage of 0% APR financing.
Game time decisions.
For a city that's as cold as Winnipeg is, these
He's got thick skin. I was talking about how it's a big party there and it's chaos. They took it like, oh, we're not like scumbags like Vancouver, the riot. I said, what are you insulting Vancouver for? And then they went right into Toronto and the Raptors and everything. Man, if you tell them it's cold there in the winter, they take it personal. But it is cold. Yeah, it is. Like Jerry Seinfeld said, someone ask him where Israel is, he doesn't call you an anti-Semite.
Weekdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, only on the Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
This is PBA President Pat Lynch. Allow me to tell you what life is like for our cop families. Every day our husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, daughters and sons are hoping and praying. They're hoping there's no knock at the door, praying they never hear those terrible words. You need to get to the hospital. We have a car waiting. In May 1971, the families of police officers Waverly Jones and Joseph Piagentini heard those words. They heard that Waverly and Joe were never coming home because a gang of terrorists assassinated them in cold blood. Nothing would bring our heroes back, but at least these families knew the killers were behind bars for life. Until now. The New York State Parole Board has already released cop killer Herman Bell. His accomplice, Anthony Bottom, is up for parole next month. Help us fight for these families who have sacrificed so much for us. Visit nycpba.org and click on Keep Cop Killers in Jail. Tell the parole board that cop killers should never walk our neighborhood streets again. That's nycpba.org.
All right, so here we go. A couple more notes on Cano, and then we'll get into some of the stuff from last night, which I know we all wanted to kind of get into. So Robinson Cano was technically not suspended for performance-enhancing drugs. He was suspended for a diuretic that is treated in the same fashion by MLB as PEDs are. This diuretic was for a medical issue, which has yet to be revealed. The diuretic could also be used as a masking agent for taking something else. This is from John Heyman, Joel Sherman, Mark Feinsand, and many others all over Twitter. It's also been reported by Bob Dutton and Ken Rosenthal that Cano can serve the suspension while on the disabled list. And
boom, throw him on your DL spot.
And it'll be interesting to see if technically he's on the disabled list in 10 days. Like, I don't know how that works.
He's already on it.
No, I know. If MLB makes him take him off.
Oh.
He will not be. He will not receive his salary, obviously, while he's suspended, which will cost him. This is a crazy number. It will cost him $12 million, which I know when he makes $200 million, whatever, but like $12 million is costing him.
A lot of money.
Brutal. It's absolutely brutal. Hey, if you want to win money, you should go to mybookie.ag right now. Because that's the spot where we trust to go win money. Frank's been back on it for baseball, and we suggest you do it too. Because if you play DFS and haven't tried playing mybookie.ag, player props, you're missing out. The player props tool allows you to avoid sharks winning 90% of the money in DFS. Invest in the players that you want without salary caps. Forget having to create multiple lineups. Ditch the hassle of dealing with late scratches. Go to mybookie.ag, open a new account, and enter the promo code FNTSY, and you will receive a 50% deposit bonus. Often a player, say Mike Trout, will be chalk in DFS, be owned in 80% in tournaments, because everyone will think the play is obvious. Don't be a loser and eat DFS chalk. Be a winner and play at mybookie.ag, the player prop. Plus, you can access the one sport not yet touched by DFS, the sport of kings, horse racing. It's simple. Go to mybookie.ag, open an account, enter the promo code FNTSY, receive your 50% deposit bonus. Click the player props tool and choose your player prop now. Collect your winnings next. That's mybookie.ag. The promo code is FNTSY. We also want to remind you that it's important to us, and if you like us, we'd appreciate it. If you like the podcast on YouTube, you subscribe on iTunes, you leave a comment, you rate us 5 stars. It really helps us, and it helps make this show better. So please, head on over to wherever you're listening to this podcast right now and subscribe, rate, and be better. There you go.
Robinson Cano has issued a statement.
Great, let's hear it.
Do you want the whole thing? It's pretty lengthy. Or do you want like the Cliff Notes version?
Give me Cliff Notes.
Basically, he's saying he took this for medical reasons, and it's a drug that is issued by doctors in Dominican Republic. He said he wished he checked to make sure it wasn't on the banned substance list. And the reason he has never popped for PEDs in his career, he says, is because he has never taken one in his life.
Fair enough.
All right. Is what it is.
Greg, you mentioned MyBookie. I just want to ask you guys a quick question. What do you think the best way to bet on baseball is? Just like pure money lines?
I think so.
I mean, because spreads don't make sense, obviously, but like, do you think like over/under run totals for a game makes sense? Or
It could. It's just so hard.
Or do you just think money lines is the way to
So
go?
to me, the best that I have found is when you have like last night was really interesting to me. So let's get into last night here. Because I started Andrew Haney, and we talked about if we were starting with 2 start weeks. You said you were, Frank. I said I was. Mike said he was not. Now, Haney against the Astros. The Astros were favored, which is to be expected. But they're only favored by -125. And I'm like, because we do this every day, we know how well Haney's been pitching. And I saw that, and I was like, this is a bet you bet on the Angels here. Like, the spread, it is telling me. Because you, in your head, you're just like, -125 for the Astros.
Yep.
Of course. That's kind of how I think about betting baseball. When I know about a pitcher, not on a bad team, because obviously the Angels are not a bad team.
And they've been very good against righties.
They've been very good against righties. When you know that, and you know a pitcher has been pitching much better as of late, particularly for a bad team. I don't remember the example I have, but it was like for like the Rays a couple of years ago or the Padres, where they just had a pitcher that was pitching well. When you know that, that's when you jump on it. And that's why I started Heaney last night, and that's why I feel good today. Now, Frank, you started him last night. He was awesome. 8 innings, 1-run ball. I believe he struck out 9 batters.
10.
Oh, he went up with 10. When I went to bed, it was 9. Finished with 10. Listen, Andrew Heaney has had plenty of potential in the minors before. He's a former top prospect with the Marlins. He was a Dodger for one day. Then he was traded to the Angels, gets hurt. And when discussing the prospect, Andrew Heaney, it was like, okay, he's a top prospect, but some of the underlying signs weren't all that great. Like, it wasn't necessarily going to pop as certain people kind of thought. This year, he's been popping. He's been fantastic. What has led to that, and is it sustainable?
So I think it's a combination of things. He's improved his command this year. He is getting more swinging strikes. Last night he had 13 swinging strikes, actually 11.4% swinging strike rate on the season. That's higher than, I believe it was 2015 was the year that he kind of broke out with the Angels when he had I know he had a 3.49. Yeah, that was 2015. So he wasn't getting any strikeouts then, mind you. 6.64 K per 9 that year. His swinging strike rate was below league average. Now he's actually up above league average. I don't think that I'm not personally going to depend on him for these current strikeouts that he's getting. If he can be a close to a strikeout per inning kind of guy, I will gladly take that.
Of course.
His minor league profile and everything that we've seen from him in the majors doesn't really lend itself towards him being a strikeout per inning kind of guy. But he has improved the command, especially over the last 4 starts. You look at what he's done. These are tough teams, too. He's faced the Yankees, the Orioles, at Colorado, and the Astros last night. He has a 1.80 ERA over that span, a near 27% strikeout rate, a 6% walk rate. The hard hit rate is at 34%, so keep that in mind. His xFIP is at 3.15. He's not going to be this good, but I think he can pitch to a mid-3 ERA. I really do think that's possible, especially pitching in Anaheim, where it is typically known as better for pitchers than it is for hitters. So I'm impressed by what I've seen from him. I don't think he's going to be this good, but
if you're telling me
like an 8 to 9 K per 9 guy.
But you're telling me he's an 8 or 9 per K per 9 guy.
And he has injury history, obviously, too.
No doubt. Yeah. He can pitch to a mid-3 ERA is what you're saying again.
He's healthy, yep.
This is a guy that you got to own, Florio. This is not like a streamer type, given the numbers that Frank's telling me. This is a guy you want to own.
Yeah, no, you definitely do want to pick him up. I tweeted out yesterday. It was a really good call by you guys. I said Frank, but I forgot that you also said you were going to use him.
Fine.
I've looked into him a lot this morning, and he's kind of changed who he is as a pitcher. He's a guy who doesn't throw a fastball. According to Brooks Baseball, he's always been sinker curve change. But he was primarily relying on that sinker. That is still his main pitch. But now this year he's throwing it in the 50s of percentages, whereas in years past it was in the 60s and 70% of the time. He's throwing in place his curve and changeup more. And you look at the production he's had with those pitches, batters are not hitting well for average. They're not squaring up and hitting those pitches for power. In fact, the pitch that they're hitting the best is the sinker. So you see when he's throwing that a little bit less and mixing things up and throwing his changeup and his curveball more, it's hard. I think it's hard for pitchers to identify out of the hand which of those pitches it's going to be. And then when they're not all just being sinkers. When he's throwing the sinker 70% of the time, you could cheat and think, all right, he's going to throw me the sinker here more often than not. But now when that percentage is down more, in April it was 54%, and this month it's 59%. When that's lower and you're mixing in your curve and change more, it becomes harder for hitters to predict what you're going to throw.
Let me ask a question. I don't know if it's a stupid question or not, but you said that he doesn't throw a fastball.
According to Brooks Baseball.
And I'm on a Fangraphs, I see the same thing. He only throws the sinker, the changeup, and the curveball, and he's had a strong increase of curve usage this year more than any point of his career, which is exactly what you were just saying here, Florio. Now, is it common that a pitcher just doesn't throw a fastball? Is it like a normal thing?
I was a little bit thrown off by seeing that because most pitchers, while the usage of the fastball is going down, they still have somewhat of a fastball to keep hitters honest. So, yeah, that to me, that was very interesting. The one negative with Heaney that Frank hit on, but he hasn't thrown, I'm looking at it, the most innings he's thrown in years. It was 2015 between the majors and the minors. He was actually about a little bit over 180, but last year was a lost season for him. 2017 was a lost season for him. He's really been banged up basically his entire career.
Much like the entire Angels rotation.
Yeah, exactly. So like Tyler Skaggs, like Garrett Richards, because they are all pitching. Garrett Richards is a little bit too inconsistent for my liking, but Skaggs has been great. Heaney's been really good. While these guys are healthy, continue to use them, and then obviously you know that they're going to get hurt at some point in time.
He's already thrown more innings this year than the past 2 seasons combined. So
that just shows you.
He's already at 34 and a third innings pitched. Look, he's not a guy that overpowers either. I watched the highlights of last night's start. Obviously, I just stayed up to watch the end of the Cavs game, and then I go to sleep because I wake up early. But when I was watching the highlights, he's so interesting because he only throws like 91, 92, not overpowering, but his changeup and curveball are like 79, 80. So it's just like that disparity in miles per hour, like 13, 14 miles per hour, just takes him a really long way. And we've seen that some pitchers, while they don't need high velocity, if you have that big change in miles per hour for your changeup and curveball to your fastball, I mean, it's devastating. And right now it is for Andrew Heaney as well.
For what it's worth, his average sinker velocity right now, 92.5. Like Frank said, he sits in that area, career high.
Yep. I think everything's just clicking for him right now. And in terms of, to put in perspective, how should we value him on the waiver wire? Like the guys that we mentioned yesterday, the Kyle Freelands, Jaime Barria, Tyler Mahle even, he should be owned over those guys.
He should be owned. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay. Yeah. So that's pretty high praise there for Andrew Heaney.
Of the guys that we've really been talking about the last couple weeks, I'd have him behind Buehler. Him and Romero were very close to me.
Okay.
And then I think he slides. Him and Kyle Gibson, like they're all in the same discussion, I think.
Okay. Reasonable.
I would put him ahead of Soroka right now.
I would as well, probably.
Whoa,
and I'm a Soroka guy.
I understand you saying that, but you saying that's
huge. The line from Soroka didn't look good over the weekend, but if you were watching that start, Jose Bautista had an error. So it was 5 runs allowed, 1 earned. Jose Bautista had an error with the bases loaded, which allowed a run to score and keep the bases loaded. And then the next guy up was Derek Dietrich, who hit a bases clearing double. So that made the line look a lot worse than it was, but he could have got out of that inning that Jose Bautista cost him. And then he could have pitched another inning because he was only at like 75, 80 pitches. So he kind of got screwed over by bad defense behind him. But I'm not going to paint just a perfect picture of Soroka. He was very good in that first start against the Mets, and he's been kind of shaky since then. So I still like him a lot, don't get me wrong, but based on what Andrew Heaney has done, I will rank him ahead of Soroka right now.
I think it's worth mentioning that, like you said, his one start that is really good was against the Mets. The Mets right now in baseball, by far the worst WOBA against lefties.
Mike Soroka is a right-handed.
Oh, whoops.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. Justin Verlander just tweeted, and excuse coming in 3, 2, 1.
Verlander tweeted that?
Yes.
He's such
Justin Verlander, he's
steroids.
awesome, but as a person, he kind of sucks.
Not a great guy.
He's like the classic old school, everything has to be by the books kind of guy. He doesn't like celebrating. It rubs me the wrong way.
Let me read you these tweets. Going back to Cano, because it is the big story of the day. Robinson Cano suspended for 80 games. TJ Quinn, who's an investigative reporter at ESPN, tweeted this. Robinson Cano suspended for taking furosemide, a diuretic commonly used to mask PEDs. It's kind of drug a player is likely to say he took by accident and didn't help his performance. Eager to hear his explanation because he has access to certified clean supplements. Important on Cano. Players are not automatically suspended for using diuretics. The suspension means MLB was able to prove he was using it to mask a drug. Cano tested positive before the season, appealed, and then later dropped the appeal.
Yeah, and to me that tells me that he can serve the suspension while on the DL, and he figured, hey, my hand is broken. Now's as great a time as ever.
I'll drop the appeal.
To serve the suspension.
You're absolutely right.
Lance Davis wrote hot heenie or hot honey, but he used emojis.
I'll
It
always
was
go-
fire and a honey jar.
I'll always go with my hot honey.
Hot honey. I will also take hot honey over hot heenie.
Now, a couple of injury notes from last night, and my guy, AJ Pollock, sprained his left thumb on his glove hand. Like, he had a glove. I don't know how that doesn't protect it. Immediately, it wasn't just like, all right, we'll give him an x-ray after the game, we'll see what's going on. It was x-ray, MRI, hand specialist, and I'm just like, OF.
Yeah, I told you, he was, like last week we had this discussion, and I said I think he would win the NL MVP if the season ended today. They have the best record in the NL at the time, and he was the best player on that team, scorching the ball. This really sucks because the fact that he's going to a hand specialist before even getting the results of the MRI shows you that this is probably a severe injury. So I'm scared right now if I own AJ.
Well, maybe it's not.
Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's just
You're
like...
not doing anything crazy. You have no hope but to just hold him.
Glass half full, Greggy. As an owner here, what he's done has been amazing so far. One of the top 5 hitters in fantasy, regardless if it's points, roto. What he's on pace for right now, 43 home runs, 35 stolen bases. I don't think we were going to get that, but based on what he was doing, I think there was a chance that you were going to get close to a 30-30 season out of him. He might have even been able to exceed that. So it sucks for sure. And you know what? I want to go back to something that Chris Venture said on FST. I feel like it was kind of dismissed easily. AJ Pollock, this is not an injury that comes from him being an injury-prone player. We've heard about that before. You guys have absolutely proved my theory wrong about like Giancarlo Stanton, Keenan Allen, and other sports. Like there are injuries that are not injuries that happen to injury-prone players that are not their fault, and I've accepted that. But there is something to be said about AJ Pollock. The way that he plays the game, he is kind of reckless the way that he plays. Like he goes all out. So while this isn't an injury that comes from being an injury-prone player, this is an injury that is caused by, you know, being a little bit more reckless. We saw earlier on in Bryce Harper's career, like, the dives that he was doing, and, you know, trying to make these crazy catches, going from first to third on, like, random hits.
It's kind of like a quarter.
It's the way that he plays.
It's kind of like a quarterback.
Yes, that's a good point.
That is a little bit reckless. Instead of just sliding, tries to get the extra couple yards.
We saw him last year. He, like, dislocated his arm because he was trying to make, like, a crazy slide into home plate. Like, these things happen. Like,
I'll say
and I don't want
this.
to blame him because if he's laying it out all out there on the field, like, that's how you should play the game. But
I watched the play a lot this morning when I got in there, and you were with me, Frank, when I found out about the injury. Because I was just looking at my team, and I just saw day-to-day, what the hell happened to AJ Pollock? And Frank's like, oh, boy, you didn't know, huh? I'm like, what? And I saw it, and I watched the play a bunch, and it's just like he dove, and he just landed wrong.
He's unlucky.
I landed wrong. We had about a minute before we had to hit the break, and in that minute, I want to talk to our buddy Steve in Massachusetts. Steve, you are on the Fantasy Best Friends Forever. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Greggy? What's up, Mike and Frank? Hey, I had a couple questions for you guys.
You got about a minute, so what is it? Let's go.
All right. So Yasiel Puig, he hit a home run the other day. Is he going to turn it around? Because I have him in a 10-team league. And Alex Reyes, he did good in rehab. The question is, when he actually comes up, should I drop Eduardo Rodriguez for him, like when he comes up, if it's in fact that he's the starter?
All right, that's a really good questions here today. I want to talk about Puig on the other side because I think it relates to Justin Turner. Mike Florio wearing the camera on Florio, please. We're getting no, it's not on you. So keep staying like that, Florio. There we go. Yasiel Puig in the jersey today. We'll talk about Puig on the other side of the break because Justin Turner's back, and I want to know kind of how it could relate to Yasiel Puig. And when we also come back, I do want to discuss Alex Reyes a little bit because I said yesterday I would pick him up immediately. I'm not waiting. I don't know if you have that chance anymore after last night's start. Would you drop him for Eduardo Rodriguez? I think it's a great question by Steve, and we're going to address that on the other side. Stick around. So much more to come here. Fantasy Best Friends Forever, Fantasy Sports Radio Network.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-292-8137 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-292-8137 for your free author submission kit. Again, that's 800-292-8137.
Muscle Maker Grill was made for baseball season. Muscle Maker Grill supplies you with delicious, healthy meals that will give you energy to cheer on your team week after week. Whether you're craving flavorful salad, packed wraps, or giltless entrees, Muscle Maker Grill has you covered. Hosting a game? No problem. Our catering packages will have your whole team satisfied with flavors ranging from Italian to Tex-Mex and much, much more. Visit MuscleMakerGrill.com for your nearest location and have a winning season.
Fantasy Baseball Hour with Al Melchior.
See, Trent Rosecrans is with us from the Athletic Cincinnati. Matt Harvey, what did you think about his first start as a Red?
The results were good. He only did have 2 swings and misses. The Reds haven't had too many pitching performances like that, regardless of where they're being played. So it's a net positive thus far. And also, you look at the velocity, and you saw him up at 96 a couple times. He was pitching 93, 94. That's a good sign as well.
Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on FNTSY Radio and on your popular podcast providers.
Skix sneakers are taking over tailgates and alumni homes across America. Skix canvas high top, low top, slip-on, and kids tennis style sneakers designed in officially licensed college colors and logos is a must-have for every college fan's wardrobe. Fun, fashionable, and comfortable. Whether you're at the big game or watching the game at home, Skix helps fans perform better. Go to Skix.com and use promo code FNTSY for 15% off your pair now. That's Skix.com. Skix sneakers, the soul of a true fan.
If you love drafting your fantasy team, imagine drafting a real professional team. The Fan Control Football League is bringing fantasy sports and Madden franchise mode to a real football field. Fans will scout players, draft rosters, hire coaches, call plays, and more. The FCFL will feature 8 professional teams playing 7-on-7 fast-paced indoor football in a high-tech production studio built for digital audience. This is the next generation of fantasy football, where fans get rewarded for dominating through the league's proprietary fan token. To learn more about the fan token and the FCFL, visit fcfl.io right now. All right. Great questions today from our buddy Steve in Massachusetts. I'll start with the first one. You're wearing the Yasiel Puig jersey. Hit a home run yesterday. He's back. He's healthy. He's in that outfield starting every day. And in a banged-up Dodgers lineup that no longer has Corey Seager, that gets the return of Justin Turner tonight. How are you valuing Puig? And on top of that, how are you valuing Justin Turner?
Justin Turner, I mean, maybe you want to give him the week. If you've gotten by this far and you have an okay replacement option that you've been comfortable with, give him the week to kind of get his bearings under him and everything. But I think Justin Turner is going to be a guy that you're going to slide back into your roster as soon as this week, even if you didn't have a good third base option. As for Yasiel Puig, he's very confusing to figure out right now. On one hand, I think we did a bad job as a fantasy baseball community just kind of buying into what he did last year, because if you look at it, really what he did last year, batted ball profile-wise, wasn't much different than anything he's done in his career. 32.9% hard hit rate. The years before that, it was 31%, so that is up a tick. The fly ball rate really was the same as it's always been, yet there was just a jump in home run to fly ball ratio, and he by far has not been able to sustain that. I think it will come up, obviously. I think he's going to be better than he is now, but my concern is if he can replicate or get back to that point of how he was playing last year. You look at it, he's also having a weird season in the fact that he is chasing more pitches out of the zone, yet his swinging strike rate is down right now. But you look at it, the zone percentage of pitches he is seeing in the strike zone right now is significantly down. The fact that he's not really making as much contact on those pitches, to me, he is just a very tricky player, and I think a big part of it is, one, he has fallen in the Dodgers lineup, so you don't have to attack him as much. You can throw pitches out of the zone. He's making contact on those pitches, but clearly not making good contact, so I think he's just trying to do whatever he can to make contact on the ball, and this whole Dodgers lineup is gross right now. You don't really have to pitch around anyone, so To me, I think he will get better, obviously, but I don't think he can do what he did last season.
So I don't think that we did necessarily a bad job of evaluating Yasiel Puig coming into the year. Yes, his home run to fly ball ratio jumped 7% from 2016 to 2017, but oftentimes we talk about some players who might be more of head cases, let's call it. Like, he actually knew last year coming to the stadium that he was going to play every day. So I think that in itself lends itself to, improving his confidence, knowing that he's going to play. And it's the juice ball era, right? So I think if any year your home run to fly ball ratio was going to go up, I think last year it made sense. Maybe 7% is a little bit up.
But it didn't jump in 2016.
Yeah, no, but 2016 was like that half a year, and he wasn't really playing every single game,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that can affect his play, but I don't know if that would lead to a 7% jump in home run to fly ball rate.
I don't think what we did last year was terrible. I will say this: plate discipline in terms of he was walking 11% of the time last year. This year it's only 6%, so not as much patience as the plate. Mike mentioned he's kind of getting pitched around, not getting a lot of pitches in the zone. For what it's worth, his StatCast data says that his average exit velocity this year, 91.4 miles per hour. Is 64th best in baseball, which is pretty good, and it's up 3 miles per hour than it was last year. So while I know the hard hit rate isn't necessarily there, his average exit velocity is actually up this season. So I think he is going to get better. I don't think that he's going to live up to preseason expectations because we probably thought he was like a 25 homer, 10 stolen base guy. To this point, he has 1 home run and 4 stolen bases.
Speed's there.
Yeah. I think he's going to get better, though. Like, if you can get him for nothing right now, I would go out and do it.
Okay.
He's not going to be this bad.
No, probably not. Probably not. When it comes to Eduardo Rodriguez, the question was, would you drop Eduardo Rodriguez to pick up Alex Reyes? You're the Eduardo Rodriguez guy, Florio. Would you do it?
I don't think I would. I really want Alex Rodriguez. I think I would find another person on the team to drop. If you look at Eduardo Rodriguez's game logs, there was 2 bad starts in a row that really inflated his numbers. And the one specifically against the Royals, I watched that. He had a terrible first inning and really started to settle down and then allowed a home run late. Oh, no. He allowed like a 2 RBI double or something like that later in the game. So it was really just one really bad inning. And after that, he pitched pretty well. I didn't watch the start against the Rangers, but he still did have 10 strikeouts in that game. So to me, the strikeout stuff is just too much where I want to cut bait with this guy. I know I keep saying it. I do think he is prone to these blow-up starts because he is wild, and at times he's too wild for his own good. And you see the starts where he's struggled, he's allowed walks. But to me, I'm not dropping Eduardo Rodriguez because the strikeout stuff is just too good.
Yeah, I'm not even an Eduardo Rodriguez guy, and I don't think that I would do this either because, I mean, the strikeouts are there, like Mike said, but the swinging strike rate is up a whole percentage point this year, 12.7%. That's significantly higher than league average, and you try and figure out why. I mean, the guy has changed his pitching arsenal. He's throwing his fastball 53% of the time. Last year, that was 65%. So we've seen a 12% decrease, and he's throwing a cutter more now this year. Last year, he threw that only 5% of the time. This year, it's up to 15.6% of the time. That's according to Fangraphs. So he's changed his pitching arsenal a little bit, which has lent itself to him getting more strikeouts, more swings and misses, and he actually has quality starts in, just about half his starts. So I think he is going to get better based on the strikeouts that he is getting. I do like Alex Reyes a lot, though, man. I mean, what he did last night, 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, 12 strikeouts through 51 of his 80 pitches for strikes. He hit 100 miles per hour 3 different times last night. He's only owned in 36% of Yahoo leagues. Yep, Yahoo actually has him. Didn't have Franmil Reyes, who might be, a distant cousin, but they have Alex Reyes. He's only owned in 63% of CBS Sports leagues, so he's still out there, Greg.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
The one thing I wanted to add to what Frank said, he said Erod had quality starts in about half his performances.
I think it's like 4 of 8 starts, right?
But he would have had one.
No, I'm being honest.
Last week against the Yankees, he was throwing a gem, and then there was a long rain delay that bumped him out of the game.
Shame.
1, 2.
He wouldn't have gone too much deeper, but he would have at least went 6.
Yeah, shame.
3 of 7 starts, and last week it was the 5 innings. So we'll say 3.5.
Yeah.
3.5 quality starts of 7. That's half.
Although Robinson Cano, other notes from today, Clint Frazier is going to join the Yankees today in Washington. I think he'll be the starting center fielder tonight for this team. That's obviously not been confirmed or announced anywhere. Yep. Brett Gardner will be on the bench. It'll be either Aaron Hicks or Clint Frazier in center field. They want the extra hitter being the National League ballpark. We'll see how long Frazier's up for. I'm not running to pick him up.
Remember, the Yankees face 3 lefties this week.
They do. They
3
do.
of his of their 5 games are against lefties. So I think he could actually stick around longer than just the National league 2-game short series here, but we'll see. I mean, he was coming off games where he had back-to-back home runs over the weekend. I think it was yesterday and Sunday. So he is red hot right now. Tweeted this out earlier. Drink 33 total bases in just 12 games. He was hitting 362 with a 702 slugging percentage. He was absolutely destroying the ball this year.
I do not think he's a player you want to add, though. Like, he's a better real-life player right now for the Yankees than he will be for your fantasy team. There's just way too many people in that outfield.
Right now, this is just like an AL-only speculation. Maybe 15-team mix if you have deep benches, just to see if there's anything there.
Who's going to sit, though, for him?
That's the thing.
Gardner.
That's exactly it.
You think
it's
they
going
would
to be
bench
either
Gardner?
Gardner or Hicks.
I don't think they bench Gardner.
They've been benching Gardner against lefties.
Hicks hasn't
Maybe
been great
against
either.
lefties, but I don't think that's enough to, like, if he's playing once or twice a week when they face a lefty, I don't think that warrants being owned.
I agree with that. I'm just telling you what they're going to do this week.
I also don't like his nickname. It's Red Thunder.
I like it.
I mean,
it's cool. It's cool.
You can find something more creative than Red Thunder.
Can you? I don't hear. Do you have anything?
No,
Okay,
not off the top of my head, but Red Thunder, it's just.
It's cool.
I don't think so.
Do you know any other Red Thunders?
No, it's just.
All right, so
I
that's
don't
cool.
think it's a great nickname.
I respect all nicknames that are original.
I just don't think it's very creative.
Like how many people do we need to be called King?
Scott Engel.
LeBron.
Felix
Hernandez, right?
Scott Engel.
You said that already. Yeah.
That's the most important King.
So let's come up with a better nickname for.
No, I like Red Thunder. I think it's cool.
All right, whatever.
Thanks. Last night, a couple of injury notes. Joey Lucchesi was placed on the DL with a hip strain. He said last night the hip's super minor. He'll make his start over the weekend. He's good to go. You wake up this morning, he's on the disabled list.
Yeah, I think it's just a give him some rest type of thing.
Okay.
I'm not panicking if I own him right now, but it sucks that you thought you were getting 2 starts out of him and you're not.
Yes, that is where it hurts the most because I started him in a points league, and now I'm down to start than I thought I was going to have this week.
Reminded me of a lot of what we did yesterday, where DJ LeMahieu was randomly placed on the DL last night, as was Alan Henson.
I know we were talking about, like...
So ridiculous.
Robinson Cano was an Iron Man. It was a bad year for guys who we say are Iron Men. Like, DJ LeMahieu has played like 145 or more games in like 6 years. Elvis Andrus was never placed on the DL. Like, a lot of weird stuff happening this season.
And I think that's something we have to pay attention to more, not just us, but fantasy players in general, is when you have some of those West Coast games on Monday nights and you have weekly lineups, when you have a player who's like day-to-day, who's like banged up, and they say, oh, yeah, I mean, he's probably going to be all right, you should probably have a backup there.
You should.
Just in case, because this has happened multiple times now this year. This wasn't just last night with those 2 players. This has happened multiple times where after lineups lock, it's come out that someone just got placed on the DL.
Brutal. I mean, and to be fair, like we didn't even have a backup.
No, exactly. And that's a 15-team league, so I understand if you don't have a backup, it is what it is. But, you know, if you play in shallower leagues, you might have a chance to, you know, have an extra second baseman on your bench. In one league, I actually hit up the commissioner. I saw that LeMahieu wasn't going to play, and I have Gleyber Torres on my bench. I said, look, Gleyber hasn't played yet. Can you put him in at my second base position? And he said, yeah. So I only get 5 games out of Gleyber, but it's better than 0 for DJ LeMahieu.
I would have said no, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's not my fault.
No, if I was the commissioner, you asked me that, I would have said no.
Even though DJ LeMahieu got placed on the DL.
Sucks. I'm sorry. It's part of the game. You started him.
I was out of commission. I was playing a basketball.
That doesn't matter.
All right.
I'm just telling you how I play.
All right. I think it's kind of a D-bag move, but...
You started him. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
So why? It's the same. It's the same thing.
It came out. When did it come out? Like 5 minutes before game time at like 10 o'clock at night.
I'm sorry, man.
And what if you play in a league where it locks first pitch at 2:20 during the day?
Then that sucks.
No, that's not.
Of course
not
it
right,
is,
dude.
That's how the rules.
No,
you don't just,
it's not.
Yes,
I mean,
it
there are
is.
a bunch of people who play that. If an injury happens within the first couple of games and that player goes on a DL, that you can put a player in your lineup.
Is that in your rules?
No, there are a ton of leagues that play like that.
But you
and
don't.
obviously it is in the rules because he let me do it.
But you texted him to do it.
He let me do it.
I think that's
illegal.
illegal.
He can put it up to league vote. I don't care. I mean, I'm not trying to take advantage of the system or anything. I just thought Gleyber Torres hadn't played yet. I don't see what's wrong with it. DJ LeMahieu got placed on the DL like 5 minutes before a West Coast game. I wasn't near a computer. I wasn't on my phone.
Sucks. What do you think?
I think that's kind of a D-bag commissioner move, in my opinion.
That's fine. What do you think?
If the rule kind of states, if the team plays, you're locked in. That's kind of
7 o'clock is first pitch. It gets locked.
No. In our leagues, though, it's when that team. So, like, if DJ LeMahieu, if they were off last night, you could still take him out tonight.
Fine.
But it's once his team plays, he's locked in.
Right.
That's kind of the rule.
So that's the rule. So
no, if it's established that you were like a fantasy dictator before the season started, and this is how you want things to be, and everybody agreed to it, if everyone agreed to it, then that's it. Like, there's no arguing it. I have no problem with that. But like, if it's never been established and you ask him, hey, Glaber hasn't played yet, can I just put him in my lineup? And no one else has a problem with it, I don't see a problem.
I think the team you're playing should have to sign off on anything like that.
To me, it's not being offensive. This reminds me of football. When Matt Modica's opponent had somebody locked in there, and he texted Jake. I think it was Mike Clay. It was Gronk. It was freaking Gronk. He goes, "Oh, I was on the air. I couldn't take Gronk out of my lineup. Can I play this tight end this weekend who hasn't played yet?" And Jake's like, "Sure." That's BS.
So the owner...
Football is a different beast than baseball.
Why?
It's different.
Why?
Like, in my opinion, it's just different. What I thought you were going to say is, like, what happens if a guy gets hurt in, like, the first play of the game? That's completely different, obviously.
That's entirely different.
Yes.
That's entirely different, obviously.
But, I mean,
we agree with that.
If someone's on the air...
The same thing you play in basketball, they're not able.
If Matt Modica signed off on it, then that's different. Like, if he says it's okay,
So,
then
and another one, I think it's a different league than the one you're referencing. And I'm playing the commissioner. He was on vacation this whole weekend.
Yep.
He texted me today. He was like, "Listen, I just got back from Vegas. I have to make some adjustments to my lineup. I didn't want to do it without you signing off." I said to him, as long as the people you are putting in your lineup or taking out haven't played a game yet, because that's what our rules indicate. That's what I'm cool with. Because I've done it once this year. When Middleton got announced his injury on a Tuesday, the Angels hadn't played yet. I said, "Hey, I need a relief pitcher. I'm just going to pick up Cam Bedrosian because he hasn't played yet."
You pick up Cam Bedrosian? Now you can make pickups.
You can, as long as the players haven't played yet. That's the rule that we have in place.
You can make pickups.
As long you have to hit up the commissioner to do so.
That's ridiculous. This is loopholes. You can make a pickup?
The fantasy dictator, Gregg
It's not a
Sussman.
fantasy dictator. Dude, you can't make pickups to waivers run.
What time was it that you texted the commissioner?
I don't have my phone on me. I'll tell you guys off the air.
Was it after
10 o'clock
after the Rockies game started?
Honestly.
Yeah, it was because I was playing basketball. So I
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you were playing basketball.
I wasn't near my phone or computer.
I understand that. I feel bad. I'm sorry, but that
People
sucks.
live their lives. Like, they have stuff to do.
Of course they
everyday
do.
stuff to
I get it. I completely understand that, but I'm sorry. You got screwed. It sucks. What you shouldn't get a
D-bag
loophole.
move. That's a D-bag.
It's not a D-bag rule. It's the rule of your league.
If we texted Adam Ronis to change it in GST, he would say no.
As he should. Like
we have 3 owners. One of us should have been able to check the lineup if we had a player.
I checked the lineup. I checked the lineup. We didn't have
I'm
anybody.
saying there's no excuse, especially for us.
Like when Alan Hansen went on the DL before the lineups locked, I checked the team. There's nothing we could have done.
If we say
put Ohtani in, but
say
whatever.
we were on the air last night when it came out that LeMahieu was going on the DL, and we told Adam Ronis,
guys,
and we had a guy on our bench.
Yes,
I think he would.
This is Chris Venture. Sorry.
Yeah.
I run a league. This happened to me like a week or 2 ago. I'm the commissioner. I did not allow the guy to put the player in because he had an injured player that got injured literally 5 minutes into a game that the guy wasn't even part of.
That's a little different. We're all agreeing on that. This is a little bit different. Yeah. I want to know your thoughts. Leave a comment on the YouTube. Hit us up on Twitter at Michael F. Florio, at Roto_Frank, at Gregg Sussman. I want to know your thoughts on this. Like I understand that Frank says I'm being a D-bag about it, but to me, a rule's a rule. You got screwed. It sucks. Like you all know how I feel. My friend had a wake. His grandmother died on a Tuesday. He forgot to set his lineup on Sunday to pick up a defense. I didn't feel bad. It's not my fault. Wait, Florio, you said your friend was on vacation. Wait 1 second. 1 second.
I have a further development here.
1 second.
The Roto World DJ LeMahieu news was announced at 9:39 p.m.
I was playing.
That sucks. I'm sorry. Hold on, Florio. You said your friend was on vacation, right?
Yes.
Where?
Vegas.
All right, so he's in Vegas. Does his phone work in Vegas?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I told him. This is what I said. As long as the player had, because he had like Julio Teheran pitch yesterday. I thought he was going to say, "Let me put him in." I was going to say no, because if he had a bad game, you wouldn't be trying to put him in. So what I said to him was, you can replace whoever you want in your lineup, as long as they haven't played yet. I actually went a step further. He said, I have to put Adrian Beltre in. I said, dude, he's about to go in the DL. So I don't have any other options. My other guy was Ryan Zimmerman. And I said, I made a pickup for an exact situation like this earlier this year. You can as well.
Pickups.
As long as he hasn't played yet.
He should be able to ask, what if I want a Cam Bedrosian on waivers?
But our league rule is that you can't set it up like this on CBS, but we have open waivers the day of Monday because to get people in your lineup.
All right, well, that's a different rule.
Okay.
Wild ending to the BFFs today. We'll talk about some pitchers that are struggling, like Patrick Corbin, Rick Porcello, Sean Manaea tomorrow, because I'm excited to talk about that. For Mike Florio, for Frankie Stampfl, my name is Gregg Sussman. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Fantasy BFFs. We will see you tomorrow. We hope.